I'm going to be ranking ROUSSEAU covers from easiest all the way up to hardest to see just how hard his covers really are. Let's get straight into it. The first cover we'll be looking at is called Nuvole Bianche by Ludovico Einaudi. One thing that I really like about Einaudi's pieces is that he broke the myth that really good pieces have to be super technical and difficult to play. I think of course pieces like La Campanella, for example, are exceptional to listen to and showcases the player's talent really well, but then again most players will never get to that level to be able to play those pieces, so having beautiful pieces which still present some challenges for players is overall nice to see. Getting some obvious things out of the way, the song purely utilises 4 chords for its harmonic bass, and it is pretty limited in terms of freedom for the arrangement as well. However, the song is by no means simple or lacks variety. I think there is as much variety as can be possible in the piece given its restrictive harmony, and the variety between sections takes your attention away from the fact that the song only uses 4 chords anyway, so it is very clever. I think the hardest section I'd say is around 2 minutes 20. The left hand is playing arpeggios with the occasional note outside of that octave range in the left hand, so you would have to cross over your thumb to play those notes, all while the right hand is just playing quavers at the same time. And it is all at a very relaxed tempo, so it should be fairly manageable with a little bit of practice. The vast majority of this piece is pretty easy. I think most players who have been playing piano for between 8 to 12 months could give this song a pretty good go and will make solid progress with it. I think to play this song flawlessly and with emotional content may take a further year or two. But from the basis that you only have to get it to a decent level, I think easy tier is a good place for difficulty. The next piece is a little bit different. It is a classic from Vivaldi. It is Summer from Four Seasons. Okay, so as you all may know, classic pieces can vary massively in difficulty, and this one may just be right at one end of that scale. One thing I've always struggled with is parallel thirds, fourths and sixths, and that's something that becomes a very prominent feature in this piece just 30 seconds in. So I may be slightly biased in this ranking, but let's move on. There are many scalic runs in this piece, which I don't think are the most difficult runs in the world, but the fact that they must be played pretty fast and a lot of times in a row just makes it difficult to be consistent. There are also just a lot of different parts, all with unique challenges. There isn't too much material that's similar or repeated. There's too much in this piece to comment on everything, but a few things to mention. Octave jumps in the right hand are difficult to not just play, but to play it many times in a row to the same level of accuracy. And these feature a lot at 2 minutes. I know from personal experience, octave jumps like this can be really hard to practice, just because if you manage to play it once by chance, you'll unconsciously convince yourself that you can play it every time, and it just makes you rush through those sections as if you don't need any more practice. And yeah, that just makes becoming consistent at those passages really hard. At 118 it becomes pretty technical. There are left-hand ascending runs with parallel thirds and fourths in the right hand, and they're all pretty far away from each other. And there are also more scalic runs at 220, similar to the start. I think, with everything considered, I'll put it in SS plus tier for now. Let me know down in the comments. Now, this wouldn't be a difficulty tier list without talking about list. So the next piece we'll be looking at is Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. Wow, okay. The atmosphere in this piece is incredible. one thing with these pieces is that the softer they're played, or the more quieter sections there are, the more technical they usually are. And in this piece, there are many places where a section is played, and then it's repeated much quieter. And it just tests the ability to not only play it multiple times, but to be able to manipulate the sound as well, and that is really difficult to do. This piece has so many contrasting sections and areas to talk about. For example, sections like the one at 10 minutes are insanely difficult to play, just because once you've gotten all the notes, which is an insane achievement in of itself, to make it sound semi-decent and not muddy in that low of a register is just near impossible. But contrasting with that, there are many times where there would be an ascending run of some kind, and it would be followed by a short gliss chord, similar to the ones you can hear in cartoon music. And what's quite funny is at 6:30, Jerry from the cartoon Tom and Jerry falls down the screen. And what's going on in the left hand at that point is actually just hilarious. I genuinely think just about everything you can do with a piano, aside from using the actual piano to make sounds like plucking strings, for example, is used in this piece. It's just insane. It's so far away from anything that I'm used to seeing. It has to be divine tier. Let me know if anyone has any disagreements with that, but for now, divine. The next piece we'll be looking at is a little bit of Rachmaninoff. We have the Prelude in C# minor. It has a very iconic chordal beginning, which seems okay to play. I think more of the difficulty is playing it with the proper weighting behind the keys and with proper emotion as well. I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of just playing the notes and not going any deeper than that. The piece definitely ramps up in difficulty at 1:25 with a really fast embedded melody in the right hand, and just after at 1:55 there is a huge descending sequence which looks to be the same pattern, which is just repeated going down a scale of some sort, but it's all in parallel thirds and chords. Although I think it could be worse, I think it's for sure very technical and may require a considerable amount of time to learn the pattern. Anyone who's got a lot of experience learning these types of patterns, let me know in the comments just how difficult these sections are to learn, because I'm just not sure of myself. I don't think I've ever attempted something quite that hard. But moving on, the piece speeds up quite dramatically at 2:10. I think it has the same opening chords, just with a little variation, and ends with a very dramatic sequence of epic chords. So I think in terms of difficulty, it is a pretty short arrangement, only 3.5 minutes. And there's one main section within that, and the other parts are all just based around big, heavy chords, which is just very typical of Rachmaninoff. I think in terms of difficulty, it is a pretty short arrangement at only 3.5 minutes, and there's only one main section within that. The other parts are all based around big, heavy chords, which of course aren't easy, but comparatively, since the chord structures are similar, is easier than the middle section. So overall, with everything considered, I will be putting it in hard tier. Yeah, let me know. If you like this video, I think you'd also like my series ranking Patrick Peitzman. I'll put it just up in the corner. But yeah, thanks for watching.